U.S. Treasury yields soar to a 4-month high. What is causing the sharp sell-off in our sovereign debt? So we have some interesting moves going on in the bond market here in the U.S. In the U.S. Treasury market, we do have rates moving higher. Here we're looking at the 10-year Treasury yield. We can see it is above that 4.2% level that a lot of folks have been watching. We are now at a 4-month high. We will see when we take a look at some of the spreads, we're actually at a 3 or 4 year high when it comes to, say, the 10-year minus the Fed funds. Now, why might this be? Well, we got some economic data out earlier this morning. We got industrial production. This is a report that the Federal Reserve puts out. And here we can see the total index for industrial production, again, straight from the Fed. Now, a couple things to point out. We have gone absolutely nowhere over the past 13 years when it comes to the industrial production of the U.S. Obviously, manufacturing and industrials make up a very, very small component of GDP, only about 10% of GDP. But that being said, we have basically gone nowhere when it comes to industrial production. But if you'll take a look over the past 12 or 13 months, we have seen a pretty durable bounce when it comes to industrial production. And again, this has been going on for about 12 or 13 months. So how much of it is due to tariffs? Well, if it was starting 12 or 13 months ago, it cannot all be due to tariffs, obviously. So if we take a look at the components of this particular report, there are a couple things stand out here that I would like to point out. So business equipment is up by 10%. This component is up by 10% from December 2024 through to December 2025. This component has grown by 10%. Now, obviously, we know hundreds of billions of dollars have been being spent on AI CapEx from the hyperscalers, all this data center build out, which, by the way, if you remove that data center build out and all the money being spent there, GDP would basically be right around 0%. We would be flirting with a recession is one of the only things that is really propping up the overall broader aggregate economy. But the other component here that's worth keeping an eye on is utilities. So on a month-over-month basis, those grew at 2.6% from November 2025 to December 2025. Just in that 1 month period of time, utilities grew at 2.6%. Now, if we take a look at the rate of change of this industrial production, obviously month to month, there's a lot of volatility. However, if you were to annualize out the data that we got this morning, you're talking about a 5% annual growth rate if, of course, we were able to continue to grow at this rate. But as you can see, month-over-month data is very, very volatile. So it's best to take a 12-period moving average, in this case, a 12-month moving average, to see what industrial production has been growing at over the past 12 months. Well, is very anemic, just a 1.4% growth rate. We have basically been flat when it comes to industrial production and the growth of that output. Now, to point to this, so here in red is that index, that total index that we were looking at before from the Fed. And then in white, we can see ISM manufacturing new orders. So remember, this is a PMI or a purchasing manager index. This is what's known as soft data or a survey sort of data. So what we've seen there, obviously, over the past 2, 3, 4 years in the ISM manufacturing index, whether it be employment, whether it be new orders, all across the board, it has been very, very weak. According to the ISM, anything below 50 indicates a contraction. Well, we have been basically well below 50 on all the individual components of ISM manufacturing new orders. But anytime you get a divergence like this, it is worth keeping an eye on. So the Fed is measuring actual hard data, actual hard economic data, whereas, of course, ISM manufacturing is much more of a soft data. So we also got news on the next Fed share. So this is arguably probably driving rates even more. So Trump made some comments and said that Hassett was good on TV, but he wants to keep him where he is. He also made a strange comment that Kevin Hassett talks too much and that Fed shares normally don't talk very much, which was a little bit bizarre. But it appears that he is kind of souring on Kevin Hassett as the next Fed chair. He also made the comment, we will see how this goes, how this works out. So, of course, still very, very open ended comments when it comes to Trump. He likes to leave doors open. Now, rate cut expectations for 2026. This chart provided by Zero Hedge, by the way, they did plunge today. So that is probably what is driving rates higher all across the board, as we will see in a second. So if we look at Kalshi, not sponsored by them or anything, but if we look at the betting market, the prediction market, when it comes to who this next Fed chair is going to be, at the start of the morning, Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh were both front runners. They were basically both tied in terms of probability, right around 45%. Well, what we have seen since Trump's comments is Kevin Warsh has absolutely skyrocketed. So he has moved from about 45% up to about 60% now. And Kevin Hassett, again, who had been one of the front runners for next Fed chair, his odds, according to prediction market, have plummeted from 37% down to just 17%. Now, Kevin Warsh is generally seen as more hawkish, not nearly as dovish as Kevin Hassett would be. Kevin Hassett is basically going to be a tool of the administration to implement exactly what President Trump wants. You can think of him as more of the puppet candidate. Now, Kevin Warsh is much more when it comes to monetary policy and kind of general views on the role of the Fed. Kevin Warsh is definitely more of a hawk, and you can go back many, many years. He has always been somewhat critical of the kind of hyper Keynesian sort of approach that the Fed has taken. Now, I want to point to a couple things with the yield curve. So again, yields are up across the board, whether it be the 2-year, the 10-year, and the 30-year. Yields are starting to move higher. The 10-year to Fed funds spread, right? So the degree to which the 10-year Treasury yield is above the Fed funds rate. Remember, the Fed only controls one interest rate, which is the overnight interest rate. Well, remember, the vast majority of the economy does not function on overnight interest rates. It functions credit card interest rates, mortgage rates, auto loan interest rates, small business loan interest rates. Those all function off the 10-year Treasury yield. So what we're measuring with this kind of teal line here is the degree to which the 10-year Treasury yield is above the Fed funds rate. You can think of this as the kind of ineffectiveness of Fed cuts, right? Because what is the point if you're going to be the Fed and cut interest rates, cut that overnight interest rate, but the 10-year does not cooperate? Well, you are not exactly getting the impact that you would like for the real economy. Now, banks love this, and this does benefit certain players, of course, in finance, but it does not benefit everyday Americans when this spread is higher because, again, is indicating that the 10-year Treasury yield is not cooperating with what the Fed would like. We know the Fed is in a cutting cycle. Here is the 30-year minus the 2-year. The 2's 30 spread, and we can see again there has been a flattening of the yield curve over the past couple weeks. However, that is starting to stabilize. At least it was earlier this morning. Generally, the yield curve has been steepening from a pretty historic inversion where the 2-year yield was actually above the 30-year yield. So this spread was negative. That is not normal. That is very abnormal. Generally signals an economic slowdown is ahead. So we did see a little bit of volatility in the equity market. The S&P 500 did move lower to fill this gap. I think at the peak it was down by about 0.4%, and volatility was starting to move higher as well. Bitcoin basically flat on the day. Gold initially sold off on the Kevin Warsh odds skyrocketing of the next Fed chair. Gold initially sold off, right? Because why do you buy gold? You buy gold when you're worried about fiscal dominance, when you're worried about overly dovish monetary policy. And so gold did initially sell off, but we are getting bid back to basically where we closed yesterday. The 2-year yield, as we can see, up from about 3.56 up to about 3.59, so about 3 basis points. It was up to 3.61, so about 4 or 5 basis basis points earlier this morning. The 10-year Treasury yield tried to break out. Looks like it is getting bid. So we might be just stuck in this range for eternity. It appears the 10-year Treasury yield just does not want to pick a direction. The 30-year yield was up higher as well earlier today. The dollar had been facing some weakness earlier this morning. It is starting to get bid in spite of this new Fed chair. So here, if we look at industrials, I want to point this out. I mentioned a rotation a video or two ago, the rotation under the surface that is going on. So here in white is the State Street industrial sector ETF. So this tracks obviously companies that are in the industrial sector. Well, it has gone basically straight up. So if we go back to say late November, early December, it is up by 12, 13%. It is moving dramatically higher, even as the S&P 500 and especially the NASDAQ has not made a new high in months now. Well, the S&P 500 has. NASDAQ has not. So here in blue, we're going to take that industrial sector ETF and divide it by the tech sector ETF. And what we can see is that going back all the way to late October, we have seen outperformance from industrials. So normally, this is not how it goes. Normally, as we can see, industrials underperform tech. Of course, here in America, we have some of the best tech companies in the world. And generally, whether it be the IWM or the equal weight S&P 500, generally they are going to underperform the Mag 7 and the major tech companies. But again, we have been rallying. Industrials have been rallying going all the way back to late October when this rotation really started to happen. Now, if we take a look at what is up on the day, what is down on the day, materials are down by about 1%. They have had a very strong run, as we can see as well, in this kind of broadening out. If we look at consumer staples, again, those have broken out to a new all-time high recently, unlike tech, which has not, of course. That is starting to sell off a bit, down by about 0.5%. Energy also has broken to a new all-time high on this kind of broadening out, this rotation under the surface. Financials had been doing well. We did get some bank earnings recently, and financials are up by about 0.5% on the day. We were looking at industrials earlier. Now let's look at tech. So as we can see, XLK, which tracks the tech index, has not made a new all-time high, going all the way back to that late October period of time. Real estate is struggling, but bouncing and again outperforming over the past couple days. If we look at utilities, those are down by about 0.5% on the day. If we look at healthcare, that is showing incredible strength, arguably, going back all the way to the summer 2024, selling off a bit, down by about 0.33%, and consumer discretionary selling off as well. But it had broken to a new all-time high on that kind of broadening out trade. And again, if we look at tech has not broken out to a new all-time high. So there's been a significant amount of rotation, hopefully, as you can see there. There's been a significant amount of rotation underneath the surface, arguably in a very positive direction, which is for the real economy, the broader economy, all of this gains that we have been seeing, all the strength in a handful of companies, we are starting to see a broadening out, or at least the market expecting that we are going to get a broadening out, which is good. That is a healthy sign, rather than having this over-concentrated thing where only 5 companies are propping up the S&P 500. Industrials up by almost 1% on the day, again, outperforming with this rotation that I've been talking about. So anyways, hopefully that was helpful, and I will catch you in the next one.